another little short Bible story that I want to share with you, taken from Luke 7. Now listen, the city called Nain had become famous because of the prophet Elisha. He had raised a boy from the dead there. Now listen, we turn the clock on roughly 800 years and we find another boy had just died in Nain. But he was the only son of a widow. So now this poor lady, she'd already lost her husband, and now she'd lost her only son. She had a very lonely future ahead of her. The widow was surrounded by a large crowd who were mourning and carrying the dead boy in an open coffin out of the city to bury him. It was probably in a wicker basket. Jesus was actually surrounded by a very large crowd of people as well, but this crowd were very, very happy. Why? Well, because they'd seen Jesus do some wonderful healings and wonderful miracles. Then it happened, the collision. They both met at the city gate. And you can imagine the happy crowd seeing the mourning crowd coming towards them would have gone very quiet out of respect for them. Jesus saw the widow and his heart broke for her. Jesus said, "Don't cry." See, Jesus feels what we feel. Jesus walked over to the coffin and those carrying it stopped. And what he did was he reached up and touched it. Now in those days, touching anything near a dead body could be linked as becoming unclean, but Jesus didn't seem to mind about that. Jesus said, "Young man, get up." And the boy sat up and immediately started talking. I wonder what everybody around thought. I wonder what those carrying the coffin would have thought. Cool, they could have had a heart attack, couldn't they? I mean, imagine they were not expecting this to actually happen. Jesus gave the young boy back to his mum. And now, of course, both crowds were very, very happy. Today, Jesus is just as powerful. Easter, we hear how Jesus died, but also how he came back to life again. There's a good chance we're all going to die at some stage unless the Lord Jesus returns. But the great news is, of course, because Jesus is alive today, he's also promised that we who love him, when we leave earth, we're going to spend forever with him. Sometimes Easter's looked upon as a bit of a sad occasion. Of course it is when we think back to what Jesus actually went through. But of course it ends as the happiest week of the year. Jesus is alive today. And yes, those who love him are going to go and be with him forever.